Welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Satyam Pratap Singh from Department of Electrical Engineering, Arya College of Engineering and Information Technology, Jaipur. The topic for today's lecture is power system stability. Now the introduction of stability. The first electric power system was a DC system built by Edison in 1882. The subsequent power systems that were constructed in the late 19th century were all DC systems. However, despite the initial popularity of DC systems, by the turn of the 20th century, AC systems started to outnumber them. The early stability problems of AC systems were experienced in 1920 when insufficient damping caused spontaneous oscillation or hunting. These problems were solved using generator damper winding and the use of turbine type prime movers. As discussed before, power is generated by synchronous generators that operate in synchronism with the rest of the system. A generator is synchronized with a bus when both of them have same frequency, voltage and phase sequence. We can thus define the power system stability as the ability of the power system to return to steady state without losing synchronism. Now the types of stability. Power system stability is categorized into three parts: steady state, transient and dynamic stability. The steady state stability is the stability of the system under conditions of gradual or relatively slow change in load. The transient state stability refers to the maximum flow of power possible through a point without losing the stability with sudden and large changes in the network conditions, such as brought about by faults by sudden large increment of loads. The ability of a power system to maintain stability under continuous small disturbances is investigated under the name of dynamic stability. These small disturbances occur due to random fluctuation in loads and generation levels. Now the power angle relationship. Consider the single machine infinite bus system shown in figure 2. In this figure, the reactance X includes the reactance of the transmission line and the synchronous reactance of the transient reactance of the generator. The sending end voltage is then the internal EMF of the generator. Let the sending and receiving end voltage be given by equation number 1. Here Vs is the sending end voltage and Vr is the receiving end voltage. Vs is equal to V1 angle delta and Vr is equal to V2 angle 0. Then we have Is is equal to V1 angle delta minus V2 upon Jx is equal to V1 cos delta minus V2 plus J V1 sin delta upon Jx. The sending end real power and reactive power are then given by Ps plus Jqs is equal to Vi conjugate is equal to V1 cos delta plus J sin delta into V1 cos delta minus V2 minus J V1 sin delta upon minus Jx. This is simplified to Ps is equal to Jqs is equal to V1 V2 sin delta plus J V1 square minus V1 V2 cos delta upon X. Since the line is lossless, the real power dispatched from the sending end is equal to the real power received at the receiving end. We can therefore write PE is equal to PS is equal to PR is equal to V1 V2 upon X sin delta is equal to P max sin delta, where P max is equal to V1 V2 upon X is the maximum power that can be transmitted over the transmission line. For a lossless line, R equal to 0 and the transmitted power is given in equation 4. Now the power angle curve. The equation 4 shows that the power transmitted depends upon the system reactance and the angle between the two rotors. The curve drawn between P and delta is known as the power angle curve and is shown in figure 3. The torque angle delta is positive for generator action and negative for motor action. The system is stable if and only if for an increase in rotor angle delta, the transmitted power also increases, that is the dP by d delta should be positive. It can be seen from figure 3 that the range where dP by d delta is positive lies between 90 and minus 90 degree. When the tie line impedance is purely capacitive, the range of angle for delivering power to the system is from 180 to 270 degree instead of from 0 to 90. At 0 degree with inductive reactance, the power transmitted is 0, whereas at 180 with capacitive reactance, even though the power to be transmitted is 0, but a large wattless current will flow which is not desirable, and therefore normally overcompensation of lines is never done. Let P be the mechanical input to the generator and the mechanical output from the motor, assuming negligible frictional and transmission losses. Say initially this power corresponds to point A on the power angle curve. If a small increment of shaft load is added to the motor, the output power of the motor increases. As the speed does not change for a moment, whereas the input to the motor remains unchanged. Therefore, there is a net torque on the motor tending to retard it and its speed decreases temporarily. As a result of reduction in motor speed, the rotor angle delta increases and consequently the power input to the motor increases until finally the input and output are again in equilibrium and steady operation takes place at a new point B higher than A on the power angle curve. The gradual addition of load on the motor shaft is possible till the point C is reached on the power angle curve, where P is equal to P max, and any further addition of load will result in increase in angle delta but reduction in input power to the motor. Therefore, the motor will decelerate further and it will pull out of unless it has damper winding, which may keep it running as an induction motor. Now the swing equation. Let us consider a three-phase synchronous alternator that is driven by a prime mover. The equation of motion of the machine rotor is given by equation 5, where J is the total moment of inertia of the rotor mass, Tm is the mechanical torque supplied by the prime mover, Te is the electrical torque output of the alternator, theta is the angular position of the rotor in radian. Neglecting the losses, the difference between the mechanical and electrical torque gives the net accelerating torque Ta. In the steady state, the electrical torque is equal to the mechanical torque and hence the accelerating power will be 0. During this period, the rotor will move at synchronous speed omega s in radian per second. The angular position theta is measured with a stationary reference frame. To represent it with respect to the synchronously rotating frame, we define theta is equal to omega st plus delta, where delta is the angular position in radian. With respect to the synchronously rotating reference frame, taking the time derivative of the above equation, we get equation 7, then equation 8. We can therefore conclude that the rotor angular speed is equal to the synchronous speed only when d delta by dt is equal to 0. We can rewrite equation 5 as J d square delta upon dt square is equal to Tm minus Te is equal to Ta. Multiplying both sides of equation 9 by omega m, we get equation 10, where Pm, Pe and Pa respectively are the mechanical, electrical and accelerating power in megawatt. We now define a normalized inertia constant as equation 11. H is equal to stored kinetic energy at synchronous speed in megajoules upon generator MVA rating. Here put the value of J from equation 11 into the equation 9, then we get the equation 12. In steady state, the machine angular speed is equal to the synchronous speed and hence we can replace omega r in the above equation by omega s. Note that in equation 12, Pm, Pe and Pa are given in megawatt. Therefore, dividing them by generator MVA rating S rated, we can get these quantities in per unit. Hence, dividing both sides of equation 12 by S rated, then we get equation 13. 2h upon omega s d square delta upon dt square is equal to Pm minus Pe equal to Pa per unit. Equation 13 describes the behavior of the rotor dynamics and hence is known as the swing equation. The angle delta is the angle of the internal EMF of the generator and it dictates the amount of power that can be transferred. This angle is therefore called the load angle. Now take an example. A 50 Hz 4-pole turbo generator is rated 500 MVA 22 kV and has an inertia constant H of 7.5. Assume that the generator is synchronized with a large power system and has a zero accelerating power while delivering a power of 450 megawatt. Suddenly its input power is changed to 475 megawatt. We have to find the speed of the generator in RPM at the end of a period of 10 cycles. the rotational losses are assumed to be 0. Here we have PM is equal to 475 megawatt, PE is equal to 450 megawatt, and H is equal to 7.5 and F is equal to 50 Hertz. Now you use the swing equation d square delta upon dt square is equal to omega s upon 2h into Pm minus Pe. Then we get 9.1385 electrical radian per second square. Note that the generator has 4 poles. Then we can rewrite the above equations as d square delta upon dt square is equal to 43.6332 rpm per second. The machine accelerates for 10 cycles, that is 20 into 10 is equal to 0.2 second, starting with a synchronous speed of 1500 rpm. Therefore, at the end of 10 cycles, speed is equal to 1500 plus 43 into 6332 into 0.2 is equal to 1508.7266 rpm. Thank you everyone for listening me.